Hi everyone, Renae here from Awaken the Infinite. I'm here today with a new topic for this week, and that is the topic of sensitivity, or being a highly sensitive person, as well as power, and how those two interrelate, and what my own journey with personal power has been being a highly sensitive person. So I hope you're all having a great week. I'm really excited to share this topic with you because it's something that has been such a core part of my learning and my life experience, my entire life, and more consciously in the last couple of years, with new understandings about what a highly sensitive experience is or what that feels like. It's been a bit more intense in the last couple of years. And I hope I convey it all as well. I'm excited, and I hope I get it all in there because I really am passionate about this topic. So I'll start off by defining what a highly sensitive person is, or what that definition is. In day-to-day life, I'm not a huge fan of categorizing, as I've mentioned before, but I think it does help us to segment and process our needs if we are on the higher sensory end of the spectrum. So, according to Dr. Elaine Aron, she's a psychologist who began studying the different structures mentally, emotionally of people that are higher sensory processing than the majority. So 15 to 20% of people have been found to have attributes of high sensitivity. And if you're attracted to this video, I would say you're somewhere close to that little 15 to 20%. You might be on the high end of the spectrum of that 15 to 20%, or you might be kind of on the edge. But I have a feeling you may have been attracted to this video because it could resonate with you. So someone of high sensitivity, they're processing information in their environments in a more detailed way than some people might. So it's everything. It sounds like you're processing all those vibrations really acutely. You're processing smells, so smells might they might smell stronger to you than to perhaps someone else. Or I won't say the average person because I'm definitely not going to be. I don't want to be categorizing to that specific place. But what else? So sounds. Also lighting, so strong lighting you're processing more of those hues coming through. Basically your mind is processing more information, and an extension of being highly sensitive, you may even find that you're processing the sensations or the emotions, as I've spoken about before, in the room or with the people in the room. So you're sharing those energetic experiences with other people. And as a highly sensitive person, you may have found that throughout your life you've had different drivers to maybe the people around you. So in school, that may have been that you didn't want to play competitive sport because why would you compete? It doesn't really make much sense to the high feeling, high sensory person. And that's another thing. You might process emotions much more deeply. So you'll experience the lows in a really deep way, and you'll also experience the highs in the most joyful way. So there's a richness to the emotional experience in highly sensitive people. So yeah, during school, you may have found that you were more interested in, creating craft or sitting in nature, playing with beetles. Like competitive things may not have been on your radar at all. Maybe you weren't even that big on academic type pursuits. And so socially, you would have been more acutely aware of how situations affect the people around you. So you'd be picking up on the subtleties in interactions around you. You'd know maybe the motivators behind why people react like they do, or why people say the things they say if they're mean, or you'd be looking for the reason why. You're more intricately assessing and analysing your surroundings, I would say, from my experience. So because of this, highly sensitive people often don't hold their personal power very well because there's almost a distance between who we are and who we think we should be based on what we're being told is normal. So we're being told, have fun, play competitive sports. That's what humans do for fun. And we're like, oh God, but I don't enjoy that. So maybe I'm weird. Maybe I need to change. Maybe people are saying, you need to become smarter, learn some science, do some some chemistry, or get into your politics or something, and maybe there's no interest there. Maybe you're like, well, what about the state of, what about humanity? What about the earth? Or what about people's emotions? And you're thinking more on a feeling based level. So from an early age, highly sensitive people may have found that they're pushing down their true nature in order to fulfill a role that's kind of been taught to us, that we may have bought into from external sources. So the reason that I'm connecting sensitivity and power, or personal power, today is because I see such a strong link, especially in the last week. There's been a bit of a theme with clients coming through to meditation, with in my own journey as well, with friends. And I think there's a huge gap between sensitive people and where they could go with their power. I think there's a huge space for growth in personal power, which is exciting. If you're a highly sensitive person and you feel like you're not as confident as you'd like to be, or you're not holding your space as much as you'd like to, you're not speaking your truth as much as you'd like to, there is so much room for growth, and that is exciting. Growth is the most rewarding thing, and being a highly sensitive person, you would have, like any human, any person, you would have strong ability to grow as a person. So let me start at the beginning of my personal power journey. So I've spoken a little bit about being highly sensitive, and what that may have meant if you were highly sensitive growing up, and that certainly was the case for me. Personal power, the first time I heard of the term personal power was maybe about 1.5 years ago. I'd seen a holistic healer myself who did body work, embodiment work on me, and she could tell that my solar plexus was off. So to cut a long story short, or having a lot of information, I won't go into detail. The 7 chakras, this one here, you might feel a build-up of anxiety or a build-up of tension, anger. This is our powerhouse for emotion and strength and power and how we hold ourselves. And if our energy center there, so the 72,000 nerve endings in our solar plexus alone, I'll see if I can get that lighting a bit better. Nope. So this place in our solar plexus, we want it operating well, and we want to work on our solar plexus if we're a highly sensitive person. When I first heard of the term, personal power, I couldn't understand it. It wasn't a conceptual thing that I could integrate into my life. It's not like saying, go for a run for 30 minutes every day and being able to do that, because that's a very practical thing that you could think of and then action. Personal power has to be embodied, it has to be felt, it has to be integrated and actioned upon day to day. So I've only just begun to really, I'd say, master personal power, and it's literally been the last few weeks, and I've had some indicators to say, or to show me that this is happening. So when personal power is operating well, we're able to say exactly what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, or what we understand without filtering it. Of course, to the exception of, some things perhaps don't need to be said, or you know best not to say them. But when there's a real deep yearning to say something, or you need to express yourself, or you need to share your opinion, even if the other person doesn't have the same opinion, if you can voice that and express that, you're well on your way to owning personal power. The other link between sensitivity and power or strength, from observation, from my experience, highly sensitive people have a lot to say. They have a lot to share, and this is because their experience of the world is so different. They often have a very strong passion or a very strong desire to contribute to the growth of humanity, or the healing to some extent, whether it be environmentally or with animals, with people. They've got a driver, as I mentioned before. They've got a core driver, and perhaps they have a different perspective that needs to be shared. And because of that different perspective, we can often find that we shut our beliefs down because they're different. So, I'm not getting a PhD, or I'm not studying this, or I'm not I'm not running a race, or whatever that is, that story that you're telling yourself that you're not good enough because you're not doing the same as everyone else. It's taking away from this other story, the story that wants to be born and birthed from you, and you can feel it as I'm saying this, I'm sure you can, that really wants to be shared and explored and expressed. And I think that's why we don't own our personal power. It's almost like highly sensitive people are ultra powerful. That is really the core message that I want to share with you today. I know I'm going, there's many words surrounding this, but that is my main key message for this video. You are powerful. You have come forward into this life with these different belief systems that, if employed, will literally change the world. They will literally change people's experiences, change the constitution of the earth, or the way that the social justice system is working, or the way that we treat animals. Whatever that is for you, there's change involved with that. And perhaps we don't own our personal power as highly sensitive people because we don't want to rattle the people around us. And because we're highly sensitive, it goes both ways. We know when we're rattling people. We're so aware of that. When we're speaking our truth and then people get unsettled because they're like, oh God, I didn't realize, or they're put off, we feel that. And by nature, we don't want to put anyone out. We want to... Well, I know I want to, this is from my personal experience, I want to be contributing positively in every conversation, in every action. I want to have that deep feeling of satisfaction that I'm doing all that I can. But sometimes we must rattle the status quo in order to make these huge changes that are so satisfying and that so need to be born from us. In the last 3 to 4 weeks, because of these videos, I'm channeling my truth. I'm not writing this stuff down. I'm not saying, okay, Renae, structure your video, like write it all down. You got to get the facts right. I'm literally speaking from my core, from my being, out into this video. So I'm getting more comfortable and confident with speaking my truth. So it actually began, I mentioned earlier, singing has been hugely helpful. I went to a music retreat about a month and a half back to volunteer as the meditation facilitator, and as an exchange, I got to attend all the classes. I ended up, I think, singing 6 to 8 songs on stage, and singing, you're allowing your life force, your being, to express itself through song, as long as you're not singing from your mind or expressing from your mind. So I've really opened up this space to communication, and I've started to own my power. Like, previously, a story would, in my body, in my mind, would be saying, you're so sensitive, you're so emotional, you'll cry in Toy Story, just as an example, literally cry in cartoons, like highly emotional, I feel everything so deeply, I get hit really hard by, previously hit very hard by people that were very direct speaking. It would almost come into me and I'd feel everything so acutely. But now, like, there's been a transformation with everything that I'm doing, the work I'm doing with clients, the videos. I'm allowing myself to own my power, and I'm only expressing this because I want the same for you. I'm not trying to, what do they say, honk your own horn or whatever. I'm saying these things because I hope that you can directly apply them to your own life, and make those changes to start to own your power as well. Something that I have realized that has been really fascinating since I've been owning my power, and before I go into that, I'll give an example that made me realize, wow, I really am starting to own my power. I do a lot of promotional work as I'm building my business, which, to be honest, I'm still loving. I'm meeting so many people, and I'm never at the same location, still exploring the different experiences in life. So grateful for that on all levels. I'm now able to openly talk about my belief system, which I've got to say is not the same as a lot of people in my life, or a lot of people that I could potentially bump into. Not to alienate myself or other people. It's just well, perhaps I'm just coming to terms with my own belief system. But on the weekend, on Sunday, I was able to share really openly with a girl that I worked with. We'd only met that weekend, exactly the work that I do. energy release, connecting with the universe, sending out messages, receiving, a really deep conversation. And as I was sharing this with her, I knew it was changing her life because she'd been looking for something like this for 3 or 4 years. She had experienced the same pattern and wasn't able to shift it and thought there was something wrong with her, but it was just one energy that needed to shift. And I could tell in that conversation, wow, like, it was almost this self-realization. Renae, you are actually so powerful. Like, you can actually heal people. You are healing people. That is power. Like, not an abuse of power. You are stepping into your personal power as to what you came here to do, what you want to do, and you're doing it. And yeah, it was just a bit of a moment for me. And I know even if someone, perhaps if it went the other way and she said, oh, that's not really for me, I would have still been okay with that. So I think that's personal power as well, when we can express our truth and to go, that's okay. Everyone's got their different version of reality. There are 7 million plus versions of reality on Earth, because there's that many people with that many, unique experiences that have filtered and contributed to the way they see things. The thing that I was going to mention before, the interesting thing that's happened since I've been owning my power, has been that the foods that used to not sit well with me, like I've been steering clear of gluten and dairy. I haven't been sick like I was to begin with, but it would just make me feel, a bit off, not quite right. These last few days, working promotional jobs that I've been, serving gluten and dairy and things, I've been eating it nonstop and I feel fine. No effects at all. I cannot believe it. And I say this because I've been connecting with a lot of people in meditation groups that are experiencing digestive upsets and issues, from ulcerative colitis, I don't think I'm saying that right, or, gluten intolerance, all sorts of things, like very, very just generally uncomfortable in their bodies digestively. And I was thinking about the connection between highly sensitive people and that. So there's the one side being physically more sensitive to the compounds or the elements in the food that we eat, but also the metaphysical cause of food intolerance, according to Louise Hay, who I highly recommend if you haven't heard of Louise Hay. Her book from the 1970s, You Can Heal Your Life, is amazing, and it has the metaphysical or the emotional causes to many physical ailments in the body. The one for food intolerances is giving away your power. I couldn't believe it. I was like, of course that's why I can digest dairy and gluten in the last few days. I've literally stepped into this space where I'm happy to express who I am in whatever situation requires it, even to close friends, which might seem bizarre, but close relationships can trigger us in so many ways. People that I've previously found it really hard to speak my truth to, I don't mind doing that now. I'm so happy to not happy to rattle them, but I'm okay with rattling people because I know in the long run, we're both going to benefit from that conversation. That conversation is coming through me because it needs to be brought through. It needs to be born. And I think we should trust those gut feelings and be bolder. We're not made of glass. We're not going to break. We're almost like we need to put a little bit more pressure or test on ourselves as a highly sensitive person to see what happens. See what happens with that conversation or that exchange of what you believe or your truth. I hope this has been insightful. I would love to talk more about high sensitivity in the coming months. There are many things that I have learnt since hearing that term for the first time that have helped me. When I first heard about high sensitivity, all I could think was, why me? Why do I have all these things that other people can deal with well? Why do I get sick working in an office? Why do I get overwhelmed when I'm on a plane? Or why? What am I meant to do? I don't understand. It was almost, I saw this really long journey ahead of me, and I wasn't sure when I was going to come out the other side and know how to master myself or how to feel vibrant again. So there's many, many tools and techniques that I've picked up along the way that have really helped me. And I want to share one with you now, maybe a couple with you now. As always, finishing on a meditation. So And when I say meditation, the things that I share at the end, we may think that meditation is one thing, that it's okay, it's calming the mind, or okay, it's deep breathing. Meditation to me is acknowledging or modifying, releasing the different energies in our body. So it's all encompassing. Meditation is not like a little aspect of life. I almost want to say meditation is everything, but that is definitely not what I'm trying to say. I almost think there are no words to this because there's not meant to be words to this. I'm really trying hard to search for words here, and they're not coming. So I have a feeling it's inexplainable. It's so multifaceted. You can do so much with it. You can achieve so much with it. It's not just about relaxation, I believe, if we set intentions with our meditations. So get yourself comfortable, seeing as I can't explain what it was that I was trying to explain. You may even like to stand up, because this one's going to be a very solar plexus opening or power opening. You can feel that, can't you? When you're opening your solar plexus, that part just beneath your heart center, above your belly button, when you're opening with your shoulders back, you've got perfect posture or good posture with your spine aligned and your crown flat. Feel that, and you can almost feel your emotional state or your state of being changing already just through the way we're holding our bodies. So as always, beginning to smile. We're not taking ourselves too seriously. We're just enjoying, experiencing, approaching this exercise with curiosity. And I'm just going to ask you, tune into your body, the feeling in your body. Smile in your mind as you do this, and we're just tuning in to our personal power, wherever that sits for you. Tune into how that feels, how confident or how able to express your truth are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your current state of personal power? Just at a guess. Tune into the feeling, put a number to that now, and know that you have so much ability, so much potential to get to 10. That is a possibility for every single human. Let that be a possibility for you today. And we're now going to take ourselves to a 10. Just by focusing on that 10, embodying that ability to express, to be you, to share, to follow that inner guidance system, to be your own person, to think your own thoughts. Begin to move into that now, move into that space, letting go of outside expectation or outside influence completely letting that go, putting that into a box, tying that box up and throwing it out the window, putting it into a balloon and sending helium enough to take those expectations or influences away. We're clearing our body of these things that we've been cluttering and dirtying our bodies with, our energy field with. We want to be clear in our truth. We don't want to be influenced. We don't need clones on earth right now. We do not need clones. We need you. We need your personal approach to life, your passion, your gifts, your abilities, your insights. We do not need a mask or an impersonation. And I'm saying this with such strength because I have been there. I have masked myself. And there is no benefit to that. Smiling in your mind, we're taking ourselves now, tapping into our highest possible potential on an energetic, a feeling level. We're embodying our highest possible potential. So what does that look like? Who are you becoming? What's the highest possible outcome in this life? Where you're heading, what you're bringing forward, what you're achieving, what you're experiencing, how do you feel? Begin to let your body shift into that state. What are you meant to be bringing forward? What is that truth? What do you know that you've been hiding because you've been not wanting to ruffle any feathers? What are you hiding that you know? Bring that forward. Bring that knowing forward now. Let your voice, your inner voice, speak to you in any way that it needs to right now. Is there something you might need to do to release in order to increase your personal power? See your path in front of you in any way, whether you feel it, you see it, you experience it. What does that hold for you? Where are you going? What do you know in your body so well that is on your path? Know that you would not be able to tap into this if it was not a possibility for you. Let that be a possibility. Let that be where you might be going. Let your cells embody this highest possible potential on all levels, every single cell now. Let the cells open. Let them open and communicate just by intending for this to happen. We're letting it happen. We're dropping our thoughts into our body or out of the crown. Any mental energy is not needed for this process. We're staying with the feelings of our bodies, opening the cells, allowing them to communicate. Now we're tapping into the highest possible version of who we are, of what we could be, of what we're bringing forward. What do you see yourself doing as you increase that? See that inner dial maybe. We're increasing it, whatever number you were at, begin to turn that now. Turn that dial. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, completely activated in who you were meant to be. Let this process happen. Let yourself feel into this. How much more alive do you feel? How much more vibrant do you feel? And we almost need a lot of courage, or a bit of courage, to step forward with this experience, with who we really are. Whenever you feel fear, exchange those thoughts or those feelings for curiosity. Curiosity is developed in a different part of the mind, and when we're feeling or thinking curious thoughts, we can't possibly be experiencing fear. It's not possible for the body. So be curious about this journey. Has life ever ruined you before? Or have you ever not been looked after, basically? Sure, there have been challenges, but you've always been looked after. You're still here, you're still alive. So be curious about what's in front of you, what you could create, what you could express. And I encourage you to begin to express your truths more widely. Express them with love. No need to throw them or to be controversial or come from a place of ego where you're trying to defend yourself. Begin to express from your being. Take your time to continue to feel into that authentic part of you, or your authentic self, who you really are, not who you're pretending to be. Let yourself be that person. Sending you lots of love as always. We're coming out of the meditation now. Maybe take a few deep breaths, smile in your mind, wriggle your body around, coming back to the room. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.